Hello, this is saxophonist Antonio Parker, and this is a conversation in jazz, where we are promoting jazz through telling the stories. Our guest today is the wonderful jazz saxophonist, composer, educator, and band leader, Mr. Bruce Williams. We ask you to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon so we can let you know when we are posting another video or going live. We also ask you to donate to our Cash App in order to support the channel and help us to produce future videos. Our Cash App is $Jazzology 101. That's $Jazzology 101. Enjoy the video. Hi, this is saxophonist Antonio Parker, and this is a conversation in jazz. Today, our guest is one of the most dynamic, versatile, and soulful saxophonists on the music scene today. He is an educator, composer, and band leader who has performed and recorded with many of the notable jazz greats, including Stanley Cowell, Frank Foster, Roy Hargrove, the Count Basie Orchestra, and the World Saxophone Quartet, to name a few. Please welcome my good brother and musical colleague, the wonderful saxophonist, Mr. Bruce Williams. Brother Bruce.
How you doing?
How you doing, man?
I'm good, brother.
Yes, sir. Welcome to A Conversation in Jazz.
Thank you. Talk to me.
And happy Jazz Appreciation Month.
That's right.
Yeah. So what we do here, man, is we basically learn about, your story. Mm-hmm. I've known you for some time. I think going back to late 80s? Early 90s?
We probably met when we were 18 or something.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about, because in Chicago.
17.
Yeah. Yeah, man. But you've done some amazing things, man. And, like, for me, man, it's just to see your growth and the things you've accomplished, man. It's amazing, So congratulations to all the success.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
But I think I found out that you were at the, in 1987 at the downbeat competitions.
Yeah, either 86 or 87. Something.
I think that was 87 because it was my senior year.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. 87. Yeah. Chicago.
Right.
I was there with the Philadelphia All-City Jazz Band. Who were you there with?
I was there with the Montgomery County All-Star Band.
Okay.
Because we moved outside the city to Mo County.
Gotcha.
And I auditioned for this band and I got in. I actually was playing tenor at the time.
Wow. Who was the conductor?
Ron Kearns.
Ron Kearns. Wow.
Ron Kearns.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, that was a beautiful experience, man.
Yes, it was.
That was my first time in Chicago. I think that was my first time on a plane. Going.
My second time on a plane.
Yeah. And there was some other young lions that were there.
Absolutely.
You remember some of them?
Yeah, and just about all of them are very visible and busy in jazz education and performance. Mm-hmm. Keith Loftus, Keith Anderson from Texas, as well as Roy Hargrove.
Roy Hargrove.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Joey D.
Joey D was Christian McBride.
Yourself, Christian McBride.
Russell Gunn.
Sherman Irby.
Sherman Irby was there too?
Sherman was there, and so was Delphio Marsalis and Mark Gross.
Wow.
It was like so many people,
Yeah.
It's like a who's who.
Yeah. Man, that was just a great experience, man, and that's my first time hearing Roy. Mm-hmm. And we, Roy started playing, man, we turned around like, man, what the?
Right.
He's playing like a grown man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. So, yeah, man, so we go back and then we formally probably met. Because I don't know if we met formally back then, but we formally met somewhere in our college days.
Right. Cause
I was at Howard.
And I was at UDC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we would go to the jam sessions.
Oh, yeah.
At Twins, the old Twins.
Twins and, the one step down.
Yeah.
Sometimes at Les Nices.
Yeah.
Which was like a speakeasy, you know,
yeah.
That knock on the door, like, okay, you can come in.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so, man, those the good old days.
Yeah.
So the first thing I like to ask people, I like to get their perspective on who they are. So,
Okay.
who is Bruce Williams?
That's complicated. I mean, you know, I'm a husband, a father, musician, educator, martial artist, thinker. You know, I mean, I'm just Bruce. You know, I just look at like whatever I do is like whatever I do.
Gotcha,
you
gotcha,
know.
gotcha. We call you the Big Salad.
Big solid, yeah, big solid. Not so big solid anymore.
You looking
know,
good, brother. You looking good, man.
You know, medium solid.
Yeah, it's all good.
You know,
And where you originally from?
Washington D.C.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up in D.C. and in this area back when you were coming up?
You know, D.C. was still trying to come out of the effects of the riots and stuff like that, and it was still a very working class town because both of my parents were very much blue collar people, and to me it was fun because of the community aspect. You know, like you leave out your front door, and your neighbors got your back.
No doubt.
You know, like the old school community. You know, if I messed up, you know, Tony the Tiger next door or Miss Chappelle or Miss Marks across the street would get me. You know, plus everybody in the building I lived in. You know, even the ex-criminals or whatever coming out that's in the halfway house next door would look out.
Yeah. No doubt.
Hey, little man, you know,
Yeah.
Sade, don't do that.
Yeah.
You know, you know. So
You know what I remember about those times? We used to look up to cats. Like they were older. We had respect.
Yeah.
And we respected our elders. I don't know if it's like that today, but maybe in some circles. But I remember cats, like when you say cats would look out for you, you knew Miss Such and Such or Mr. Such and Such down the street.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like that nowadays, man.
well, you say something to somebody's kids now, you're under investigation. All you're trying to do is like how you were raised and trying to keep them from falling into any kind of pitfalls or get hurt.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
So yeah, man. So then, now I tell people that when I was coming up, it wasn't a lot of drive-bys and all that until, you know, in the '80s or something, when the crack thing started happening and this thing started changing, you know. But I remember when I got to D.C. in '87, it was definitely the chocolate city.
Oh yeah.
So you came up when it was. Yeah.
I remember. You know, I had really bad eyesight. I still do, but I used to go to this like annex for Children's Hospital. I think like 15th Street or something like that. And you know, through that area around the corner, you know, you got Ben's Chili Bowl, and you hit 14th Street, but you didn't hang around 14th Street. You go further downtown, it was the whole stroll.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, you talking on going down towards downtown.
Going downtown.
Well, you know, when I was a
didn't
freshman,
hang around through that area too much.
I was in Sutton Plaza.
Yeah.
So they were all on the.
Oh man, I mean, you just didn't. I mean, you know, everyday people that knew the area, you know, okay, and people didn't bother you, you know. For me, you know, going to Malcolm X Park, or they would like to call it Meridian Hill. We know what is Malcolm X Park, you know, and because I lived a few blocks from there, and was it Calorama Skate was up the street, and you know. All this like landmarks in the area because I went to Adams Elementary, and then I went to Marie H. Reed, which used to be Morgan. Okay. Or is Morgan? No, it was Morgan. So it became Marie H. Reed Community Learning Center. So I lived on the back of that area, so I could walk around and ride my bike or whatever, and nobody bothered me. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, man. Now, did you come from a musical family?
I would say moderately speaking, there's a lot of musicians in the family, but nobody that became a professional as I did. My Aunt May, who died, you know, about a year ago, she was probably the busiest musician because she would play in church. She played at home with my Uncle John, played piano and organ, and she would play hymns on harmonica, could play guitar. They could sing and everything. And then I have some musicians on my mother's side, but they just, you know, it was not, you know, like they would sing church songs or popular songs, a little bit of guitar. I have a cousin named Carolyn that sings gospel music. But nobody took it on full time other than me.
You have any siblings?
I have 3 brothers.
You're the youngest or the oldest?
The youngest.
Oh yeah. Are there benefits to being the youngest?
Well, it's interesting because I'm my father's 4th, but my mother's only.
Okay.
So, and we were never allowed to say, half brother, because we all looked a little too much alike, and like my father, you know. So if we were all in the same room, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know. And the oldest one, 15 years older than me, and the youngest one is 10 years older than me.
Oh, wow.
The second oldest passed away 14 years ago. 14 years ago.
Okay. Great. She was the baby.
Yeah, very much so.
Were you spoiled?
I mean, I guess, I mean, I still got my stuff handed to me, Mama didn't play.
What kind of music were you listening to coming up?
Well, my oldest brother, Mike, he had a vast collection, but he was deeply into funk and dance music and soul music, R&B. He had some jazz things going on. Like, he would play every once in a while. You would hear like a Ramsey Lewis, a Ray Charles, a Herbie Mann, a Herb Alpert, stuff that was like more popular but still jazz rooted.
Yeah.
But his thing was like Parliament.
Oh yeah. What kind of music were you digging at the time?
Whatever was in the house, because my mom always played gospel music, and like from Al Green to Staple Singers to Mahalia, but then they like Johnny Mathis. And Jerry Butler and stuff like. I mean, so I always heard stuff that was like really rooted in the black tradition.
So did music really compel you? Like, did you feel music deeply?
Yeah, I wanted to play earlier, but I was a fool, and they wanted me to start on clarinet. I was like, no, I don't want to play that. That's a girl's instrument. And I was wrong. I had to go back and learn it after the fact. But for me, I wanted to play saxophone because my brother just 10 years older than me, Anthony, he's a tenor player.
Really?
Yeah, he used to play like in horn sections around town. For the most part, saxophone was what I wanted to do.
So saxophone was your first instrument? And now were you in school? Did you learn in school?
Yeah, I learned in school. I started in the 7th grade.
Okay.
And it seemed like about 3 months, 4 months, they said I was reading like somebody had been playing for a year.
Wow.
So, because I just was like progressing through the books.
What made you want to play saxophone?
I just liked it.
The look of it? You like the look of it?
Yeah, and the sound. I knew what it sounded like and everything. But I was like doing like this. Saxophone, trumpet, drums. Saxophone, trumpet, drum. Saxophone, trumpet, drum. And then when it came back around, it landed on saxophone.
Wow. Is that really?
Yeah, like when it went around the room.
Oh, that's how they.
What do you want to do? I was like saxophone, trumpet, drum. One of these.
Yeah.
Saxophone.
Wow.
So that's how it happened.
Wow. Now, did the schools they give out instruments back in those days, or did you have to get your own instrument?
They did, but I had my own.
Okay.
My parents got me my own.
Gotcha.
Like real soon,
Now, was there immediate, like when I first started playing saxophone, I knew this is what I wanted to do. Did you have that kind of experience?
I didn't know I wanted to be a professional player, but I really liked playing.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get better.
Gotcha.
And I was competing against myself. Like I was like, man, you sound sad today. Go practice,
Wow.
and just work on stuff I couldn't do so well.
So are you one of those cats that's serious about everything you do? That gets real?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I noticed even with the saxophone, man, you one of them cats that be knowing about the springs and what kind of pad, what kind of lacquer and whether or not. And I was like, man, it amazes me because like I don't know nothing about none of that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
But you don't have to know.
Yeah, mouthpieces.
Yeah.
You know about all that. But you're the cat that I can come to and ask you some questions about that. I remember, man, when you were working with this cat in New Jersey,
Bob Ackerman.
Bob Ackerman. And I came and got a mouthpiece.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you always, and you knew, and you were putting a reed on. You had your special way, and you had to hide. You didn't want me to see it.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Yeah, man, but you always seem to be very studious about the saxophone. Where does that come from?
I think it's just a desire, you know.
Really?
And then like I had a couple saxophone teachers before the gentleman I'm going to mention, but the one who really changed everything for me was Dr. Leroy Barton.
Yeah, Dr. Barton.
So he changed a lot of how I thought about just playing saxophone and approaching the saxophone.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So, but that's when you got in college? I know
that's when I got in college.
Were you studying formally, like, prior to that?
I took a few lessons for a little while with a guy named Larry Mullins. I'm not sure if he's still alive or around. I took a handful of lessons from Howard Burns, tenor player out of Baltimore.
Okay.
Huge sound. And he introduced me to Charlie Parker.
Gotcha.
So from there, you know, things opened up. But prior to that, I was like all Grover.
Yeah.
Oh, all R&B, you know, imitating singers.
Yeah.
You know, that was my, you know. And my brother would argue, say, no, okay, Grover's cool, but what about Wilton Felder?
Wow.
I was like, who? You know, the Crusaders, Wilton Felder. Oh, he's all right. Yeah. I like Grover.
Yeah, Grover's my dude.
You know?
That was my dude, man.
You know, he would argue back and forth with me about it, you know.
Grover was, man, I would go to, we had like a corner store called Casablanca's. And they had the machines you put a cord or something in.
Yeah.
Man, I would go in there, man. I would play Washington Wine Light.
Yeah.
Grover just, man, he was like, now you got to understand, I'm from Philly.
Yeah.
Grover, Dr. J, all these cats. And I get to see these cats because they would, you know.
Come through the neighborhood.
Yeah. And it was like, man, he was just, wow. So, yeah, so that's where you get that soul from.
Well, I mean, some of that,
yeah.
You know, I mean, the family stuff, you know. I got a soulful family,
Gotcha,
you know,
gotcha.
on a lot of levels. They, you know, the stuff they would do and talk about, you know.
Yeah.
Stuff needs not, some things don't need to be mentioned, you know.
So do you remember when you first heard straight ahead jazz?
Yeah, I was in high school talking about Grover so much. Well, straight ahead jazz, well, you know, with the big band stuff I had heard, but like small group stuff. My father's best friend at work, his name was James Hanna. He lived over in Northwest, like, I think he lived like around Quackenbross, not far from Coolidge. He actually lived right behind my Uncle Thomas, you know, and he gave my father some records. He said, here, give this stuff to him. Let him check this out, bring them back. I gave him some other ones. So he gave me some Train, some Ben Webster. He gave me, I don't know, maybe a Sonny Stitt, something, but like what caught my ear was the Train and like the Ben Webster or Coleman Hawkins, one of them, you know.
Wow.
I was like, oh, I could kind of hear that. And I could start to imitate, but when Train started going off, I couldn't play it, you know. But the other, like part of the melodies, I could pick out stuff. So yeah, I want to do that, you know.
Yeah. So you did a lot of transcribing off the record?
I transcribed a lot, but it was like not often the whole solo.
Okay.
It might have been a chorus,
Gotcha.
Or the bridge, or I wanted to learn how somebody played the melody. Like I like how they play that melody. I do a lot of listening when I'm trying to break down people's phrasing.
Gotcha.
You know, like this person phrases like this. This is how they articulate. This is how they use vibrato. This is how they slur.
Yeah.
You know, like that. So I can kind of go into those places. I call it like going to a different channel.
Yeah.
You know, so I know how to. I can imitate a lot of people because I was like really checking out their idiosyncrasies.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's some solos I learned like front to back, you know.
Yeah, some transcribing seems like it does that. It opens up another kind of portal of your ear or your mind.
Right.
And you start to hear the things that, I mean, the things like you say idiosyncrasies. It seems like they come out.
Oh yeah.
When you transcribe.
I mean, I learned 2 full Grover Records solos.
Wow.
I learned, you know, a bunch of Kenny Garrett solos, Jackie McLean solos, some Bird solos, Train, maybe not all, but some things I wanted to take from, you know, some Dexter Gordon. You know, I started messing around for a little while, like checking out some of Sidney Bechet's solos.
Okay. Now, did you write them out, or did you just learn them?
I never wrote them out.
Uh-huh.
I only wrote them out when I had to for school.
Gotcha.
You know, and I wrote one out one time. I think the teacher stole my transcription because I never got it back.
Yeah. Wow.
It was Ben Webster and Jimmy Blanton, Duke Ellington, the Blanton Webster years. And I was like, man, it was hard because like an old recording, and you know, Ben Webster all in the cracks.
Yeah.
I had to pull the flute out and go to the keyboard. Is that really a D flat?
Yeah.
Okay, it is. You know.
Yeah. But you started on alto, right?
Alto.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did music come easy for you? The art of music, like learning art, reading, and all that?
Yeah, it came kind of easy.
Okay.
You know, it got harder, obviously. You know, after you get to a certain point, it got harder, but the fundamentals made the harder easier to figure out.
Do you have perfect pitch?
I don't have perfect pitch. I have glimpses of it.
Gotcha.
You know, at times, you know, especially when the horn's in my mouth.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, okay, we over here. You know?
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time at the keyboard where I play stuff in root position, but I play all the different kinds of tensions.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
I may just play C7 and just put all sharp 9, sharp 5, flat 5, sharp 9.
And get the sound in your head.
Yeah, you know, and understand and play the scale against it. You know, I like to play a real piano and step on the sustain pedal and play against it. Oh, okay, there it is.
Yeah.
You know, because the piano ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, no
the
doubt.
strings are gonna tell you sound wrong.
Yeah,
you know.
no doubt. You got that thing Dwayne Adele has?
No. The Beetlejuice. No. You know, I was with him, man, when he was listening to, he heard a symphony playing. We didn't have a radio on anywhere. He could hear it and he started singing it. He found the radio, turned to the station.
Come on, man.
I swear. Turned to the station and found it, started singing along, the same symphony, and went to the piano and started playing it.
Wow. That's some other
I witnessed that.
Really?
I witnessed him listening to Earl Garner Misty the first time he ever heard it, and he just flipped out. And then went and started playing it and embellishing it.
Wow. Yeah, he's a that's I wonder why a cat like that, man, is not known or
you know, it has to be harnessed.
Yeah.
And you know, talking about marketing, you know, things like that, you know.
Yeah, that's I think I remember when I first met him, y'all were playing, I think it was at UDC, man. I think Jones had him playing Caravan. And I'm like, this cat just had
Could hear around the corner.
Yeah, man. I said
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
You mentioned Bird.
Yeah.
So Bird wasn't the first jazz cat you heard.
No, it was probably Train, Ben Webster.
A lot of people skip over Bird for some reason because they may start with Train, or they may start with some of the more modern stuff, and they can't really appreciate like what Bird was to modern music.
Well, I mean, I heard these other people first before I started taking lessons, I believe, with Howard Burns. And then when he introduced me to it, it kind of made sense. But when I first heard Bird, I didn't like it because I didn't hear him first. I was introduced from the Omni book.
Yeah.
The guy had me studying through that.
Yeah.
And then when I put the recording on, I said, this is wrong.
The recording is wrong?
The book is wrong.
Oh, the book is wrong. Okay, yeah.
You know, because coming from like a real hardcore wind ensemble background, the notation should have had a lot of dotted eighths and 16th notes.
Yeah.
But we learned how to read eighth notes in jazz, how they swing. So this is wrong. You know, so it took me a while to really understand how to interpret eighth notes that way.
Gotcha.
Because in, you know, classical music, eighth notes are straight. You know, there's no swing on them, you know.
Yeah, no doubt.
And the book doesn't have any accents. That's the biggest problem with that book. It has no accents. It doesn't tell you any information.
Yeah.
You got to figure that out for yourself.
Yeah.
By listening, which you should be doing anyway. So when I said, no, I didn't like it. Then I got more into it from learning a couple solos, because you're using the book, but then you're listening to the recording like, oh, okay, that's really how it goes.
Yeah.
So after a while, it made it easier to take stuff off the record without the book.
Gotcha.
You know.
So it took you a minute to understand Bird? Was it?
Oh, it took a minute because I knew he was great from listening to the recording, but the book kind of sidetracked me a bit.
Yeah. I I went the other way. I heard Bird the first time. Like, he was my first introduction to how jazz is supposed to sound.
Right.
I'm talking about the scratchy records and all that. And then when I heard Train, I couldn't hear Train. So I couldn't hear, because my favorite thing, it was just too far out for me. And
I think the first Train I heard might have been like Coltrane Ballads. I think that might have been the first one. And then I heard, when I got to UDC, Judith Corey, she made me some cassettes. One was a Train and one was a Cannonball.
Yeah.
So she's like, I think it was like, man, I mean, maybe the day I auditioned or like the next time I went up there, she gave me some cassettes she made. Yeah. And that was my listening until I started, venturing off.
So who would you say are the saxophonists who initially, and we got Grover, I'm talking about straight ahead, that really influenced your playing?
Jackie.
Jackie Mack?
Jackie Mack, Cannonball, Gary Bartz. More towards the avant-garde, Arthur Blythe, Oliver Lake. Yeah. And then the modern cats, Kenny Garrett, Steve Wilson, soprano and tenor. I mean, it was soprano mainly Branford. I actually like Osby.
Greg Osby?
Yeah, I like Osby, especially his soprano playing, Wow. But like, J Mack, to me, the modern alto does not exist without Jackie McLean. Because all of the stuff you hear that Kenny Garrett has done, and even some things you hear coming out of Bart's, J Mack laid it down. Now, there's a couple other people you can put in there, like Dolphy and Ornette. Yeah. But what Jackie did from observing them was huge. Yeah. He kept going forward.
No doubt. And he was that connection from Bird.
He was the director. He subbed for Bird, actually, as a teenager.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they would call his house. They'd have like gigs double booked or overlapping.
Yeah.
And they would talk to Miss McLean, his mom, and he'd go down to the gig, like a matinee kind of gig. He'd be outside eating peanuts or hot dogs, he told me, right? And next I'll be like, come on, Jackie, let's go inside. So he goes in, he's playing until Bird and Diz get there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then, Bird was at the first session he did with Miles.
Really?
Yeah. They're encouraging him.
Wow.
So, like, when people say, oh, Jackie plays sharp, I say, you missed the point.
Yeah.
Listen to the language. Think about the connection. Yeah. The relationship he had with a Bird, how he knew Stitt. A friendship with Phil Woods, a friendship with Cannonball. Yeah. But being his own man, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and always and he's probably the father of what we would call jazz education. Because, like, bringing it to a school and having it really still contain the elements of, the African diaspora and things like that. No other program was really talking about it that way.
And he was in Connecticut, right?
Yeah, Hartford, Connecticut, the Hart School.
Yeah, the Hart School, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, man. Great information.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Now, let's go back to D.C.
Okay.
Now, D.C. is known for that thing called go-go.
Sure.
And you coming up in D.C., did you gravitate towards some of that go-go?
Oh, I can't even count how many go-go gigs. I can't even count.
Wow. Now, I heard go-go was rough, man, back in the day,
Yeah, there were some elements, you know. I played with a guy, Gogo Lorenzo. I played with the band Air Raid. And y'all know him as a smooth jazz guy, but, Marcus Johnson and I came up in a group called Members Only, and then we played gigs of our own.
Wow.
And we threw parties and stuff. And then, there was talk of me trying to audition for EU at one time, just before doing the butt.
Yeah. Wow.
But, they had a saxophone player. It's cool. It's what it is, But I love that music.
Yeah.
I remember, man, going to the go-go, just hanging out. I leave and I found out that they done shot up the joint.
Yeah. Ain't that great?
I played the go-go and get home the next day, find out there was a fight and somebody shot up the joint.
Yeah, wow.
You know. I mean,
Yeah, yes. Wow. I didn't get to go. I was in D.C. about 20 years before I got my first go-go gig. I was with Chuck Brown.
Yeah.
Subbing for Brian Mills. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I went to Japan with Chuck.
Yeah.
And so man, and it was it reminded me when just the interaction and interplay between the audience and the band.
Oh yeah.
It reminded me when I was in Nigeria, in Lagos at the Shrine with Fela Kuti, and we sat in, me and Vince Evans, we sat in with the band at the Shrine, man, and they had a band on the stage, man. They had these two women with no clothes on. They had, scantily, dressed.
Scantily clad.
Yeah, yeah. And the crowd, man, they were just so connected with the music, and it was unbelievable. When I started playing, when I got the gig with Chuck, man, and I saw how that go-go put that thing it put a spell on the people, man. It was like.
Well, you ever notice how people from New Orleans love DC? At least through the 80s and 90s and stuff. Yeah. And I would tell them, I said, DC is Harlem South, New Orleans North.
Wow.
If you really think about it.
Yeah.
You really, really think about it. The culture, the black culture in a city like this, working class, stuff that's right. Go-go is indigenous to this area, like the second line is indigenous to that area, right? And certain things about black culture, the church, the party, dressing, community, Harlem. Yeah. It's right down here. It's a direct line. I mean, I've heard so many people talk about the Chitlin circuit. From D.C. to Baltimore to Philly, then sometimes Camden or Trenton, then all of a sudden you hit Newark, then you got to go to Harlem. So it's a direct line. Yeah. And so that would go backwards too.
Wow. Yeah.
The Howard Theater. I got family that used to go there, and my Aunt May, who I was talking about, she was telling me, somebody be walking around cigarette, reefer man, the reefer man, the reefer, and they be walking through selling a pre-rolled, and all that kind of. But that's what happened uptown in Harlem too. All that kind of stuff happened. It was part of the culture. It wasn't a thing. And New Orleans got its own thing. The second line, that dance, that community, the way the band. If you listen to like the group The Meters, you hear elements of what go-go is from late 70s going into the 80s. Yeah.
What about that Mr. Magic?
Yeah.
And that got that kind of thing in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about Latin music having a clave. Go-go has its own clave. It's still African.
Yeah, no doubt.
We can't say it's clave just because it's Cuban. Because there's that word in front of it, Afro-Cuban. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you got to understand, swing is a clave. If you really break it down, the Charleston.
Yeah.
It's a clave. Yeah. It's its own thing.
This cat up here educating, boy, I tell you. Yeah. Oh, man. Wonderful information. So now, were you gigging during your high school years and all that?
Yeah, I was playing with like a wedding band and go-go bands and a couple little private events,
So you were doing were you doing any jazz kind of hits?
I mean, I didn't really think I knew enough about jazz to do that, I was always working on it, I was trying to be Mr. Soulful,
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to go out and play,
Now, do those experiences with the go-go and all that, is that still in your music?
Of course.
Today? Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm playing, I've had people ask me, what you hearing rhythmically?
Yeah.
I'm playing, it's swinging, I'm hearing.
Yeah.
I'm playing off the go-go clave while you hearing
that. Wow. Yeah.
Over the changes.
Yeah.
So that's like I gave away my stuff. But anyway, but
it's out there now, baby.
But the truth of the matter is I'm hearing stuff rhythmically that way. Or sometimes while I'm swinging, I'm hearing I'm playing off of an African 6 kind of vibe.
Really?
I'm hearing it like that while the swing is going on.
Wow.
So I have interplay with the drummer.
Wow.
So
you really lock in rhythmically when you play?
Yeah, I mean, I love percussion. You know, and for the most part, so long as the bass player does his job, I'm really listening just to the drummer and the piano player.
He gave away another secret.
You know, I mean, like, I'm playing with Buster, you know, this weekend at Blues Alley. I'm listening to him because, I mean, he's really, really driving the bus. I mean, with him and Lenny White, you got to listen to everything.
Woo.
Like, don't sleep.
Yeah.
Everything.
No doubt.
Because Buster will change the shape of the harmony. Like, you think it's that bass note from last night. No, he done shifted it around. You know.
Yeah. You got to stay on top.
Oh, yeah. And then it opens up a whole nother color to make it a lot more free. You know, but still within the framework of the song.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow. Beautiful, man. Do you have a musical or life philosophy?
Do you?
Do you? That's right to the point. Yeah.
Leave me alone. Do you?
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. That's beautiful. Well, man, you know, that's why you successful. You did? I mean, you did you.
I'm trying.
Yeah, you doing it. Now, we're gonna talk about our good brother Howard Franklin.
Okay.
You know, we recently lost one of our jazz warriors.
That's right.
Who's also from the DMV, from DC. Right. I interviewed him here shortly before he passed.
Yep.
He told me you were his best friend.
That's absolutely true.
And shared some great stories.
Yep.
So, you want to share some thoughts?
I mean, you know,
about
me and Howard, we met about 12 years old. Like, just before we really started trying to play music.
Yeah.
You know, like, he had been beating on pots and pans and stuff, and like, he had a drummer's mind. But we met on the basketball court. And hanging out and tussling and fighting and stuff. You know, we became very, very close. And so since he passed just before he turned 52, and we've been tight since we were 12.
Wow.
And so we've seen marriages, girlfriends up and down, you know, babies, divorce, you know, arguments, fighting over this and that, you know, they're hugging and crying, you know, almost getting into physical fights with one another, you know, and then being his cheerleader, he being mine, and you know. What was
it about Howard and y'all, the synergy? What was about him that, like, connected y'all? What was that thing that connected y'all?
I don't really know, other than, I mean, it was music, but then we just happened to agree on so many things about life. I'm probably more conservative on certain things and he on others. And certain things I was wild about, he wasn't, and vice versa. But we, kind of a yin and yang.
Yeah, because y'all personalities, like, it's like north, south, east, and west.
Yeah, but like when I'm wild,
Yeah.
He'd be chilling.
Okay.
You know.
So y'all compliment each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild, man. So I know it was devastating, man, when he passed. It was for a lot of us.
Yeah, I mean, on so many levels for me, because he passed at the hospital that I was recently at.
Wow.
Up the street from me. He saw me in the hospital a year or so before that.
Wow.
And you know, and then having to go get his things from the hospital, get his car, going to his apartment. Yeah. You know, all of that just, you know, it's something I still have to deal with. Yeah. You know.
Man, you know, I've talked to you, we talked about it, man, and you've given, because I know the depth of your friendship somewhat, but you've handled it.
I mean,
you know, I know
it's a struggle because even coming home, home is home regardless, but so much of home is still connected to the people you came up with and the people you know, and like, you know, I developed a band here around him, you know, and so that has changed. Yep. And then him playing with me from time to time, you know, in the New York, New Jersey area, because I mean, I had long moved away. Yep. And I got so many other people I'm working with, you know, pulling them into certain things, and you know, that sound sometimes, I really wish I had it. Yeah. You know, but he's not that sound. Just him as a human being. You know, my brother. I mean, stay at my house for days. But no big, that's Uncle Howard.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
My wife and him would jaw jag and start laughing. You know, and my mama.
Yeah.
Be quiet, Howard. You know.
Wow.
He's talking to my kids.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, it's like that's for me irreplaceable.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, man, he mentioned that he was working on a project or something. Cause I was when I was interviewing him, I said, man, when you gonna do your thing?
He has a record done.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So is you know what's going to become of that?
I don't know. I'm trying to look through some certain things, and you know, I can't personally finance it.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll finally figure out a way to do something through the family or GoFundMe. So I don't know. But he had his funk project. I'm on both records.
Yeah.
You know, and I was planning to record again and have him on some of that.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like, you know, a lot of times you just got to do stuff. Don't worry about the money. Just do it, because you don't always have the opportunity. So it's a lost or missed opportunity.
Yeah. The last thing he said to me, man, you need to have me in your next project.
Yeah, I heard him.
Yeah, man, you need to have, and then he like caught me out there. I said, okay, when a cat wants to play with you, to me that means a lot to me.
Well, it does, so long as they can play.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Like, you know, so y'all would be doing well together.
Yeah. So
I've had that where I was like, well,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah. So I was home. I said, okay, I'm gonna have Howard. You know, I was gonna have him on the next thing, and
right.
You know, so anyway, man, he's gonna be missed. You know, the memories still there. You know, I was really his daughter. I know she was on. She saw one of the interviews and she said, "Thank you for posting this." And she had, "Don't take it down," which I won't.
Man, she's doing. My niece is doing great.
Okay, great.
Like,
that's wonderful.
Really, really well.
Cool.
She graduated summa cum laude, and she's out in L.A. working.
Beautiful.
You know, she's phenomenal.
Good. All right.
Yeah. Yeah,
man. All right. So, let's talk about UDC.
All right.
Okay. What did you, 87?
I was at 87.
Yeah, 87. What was that experience? Well, first of all, what made you choose UDC?
Well, when you asked me about the Montgomery County All-Star Band, Jones came and did a workshop. Calvin Jones did a workshop. Okay. And he saw me. And, you know, in that band, based on the demographic, there was only maybe three black kids. You know, which, you know, that you know what happens. But he heard me, and he said, man, I want to talk to you. I want to see you. He gave me his card and everything. I said, okay. I got these little letters, like kind of warm-up scholarship letters from other schools.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, nothing really, like, you know, lit my fire. The Air Force, you know, and the Army, like, they were courting a little bit, but I was like, nah, you can't guarantee that I'm going to go to a band program, even if it was a marching band. I don't want to talk to you. I basically told him to stop calling me. So I looked at Jones's number. I called him. Man, I got on the train, went over there. I auditioned, did some sight reading, playing with him, everything. Gave me a full scholarship that day. I went back to school.
Wow.
I went back to high school. I told my band director he was messed up. He's like, what? I said, yeah.
Wow.
So see how he had all these little flirt letters, but now I got something concrete.
Yeah.
And I like Jones's vibe.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, I really can learn from him, because I found out he played with Ray Charles, done all these shows. You know, I like what he was doing. I could hear in person what I wasn't hearing at high school.
Wow.
I said, this is the guy. Yeah.
And what was first of all, who was there with you when you was at UDC?
Oh, Mark Carey.
Okay.
Aaron Graves.
Wow.
Frankie Addison, Tracy Cutler, Kenny Dickinson, Ron Compton. Man, you know, Keith Mathis, Mel Prince.
Wow.
Kelvin Montgomery.
Yeah, Kelvin.
You know? Yeah, I mean, like a lot of people. Some people have passed away and stuff. Other people, I can't remember everybody's name, but you know, Gary Gillespie.
Yeah. And what was the experience like for you when you were?
It was like it was as much like a frat as it was a family.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, because I've said that, like, we should really have like a unofficial frat or make our own that's like under the umbrella of Jones, because he gave us all a career.
Yeah.
He gave us all the skills by either getting us certain private teachers to study with, or he taught us. Like, nothing in our lives would be without Jones. I mean, I know he saved my life.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I was about to do something really bad, you know, and he caught me at a kind of a vulnerable time, because my father had passed. We were going through changes at home about my dad, and so he became a father figure, you know, and then musically too. I mean, he would call my house and talk to my mom. Is that boy doing all right? How's he doing? Just let me know. I'll tighten him up, you know. I'll hang foot. Yeah, man. Yeah. Just make sure he, he come here on time. I'm gonna hang foot. Oh yeah? I'm gonna get him in the office as soon as I see him. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Man, I'm so glad that I was under Jones for 2 years.
Yeah.
So when you say them stories, and I know exactly what you're doing. And
man, talking about Howard's a one of a kind.
Yeah.
Jones was a one of a kind.
Man,
and he influenced us so much, man, that, like, I don't know anybody that was around Jones that doesn't have a piece of him.
Yeah, yeah.
No
doubt.
He was a very, very instrumental and special individual.
No doubt.
Yeah.
What about Miss Judith Court?
That's Mother Court.
Mother Court.
I remember I was talking to Elijah Barbett, and he said, "Yeah, I was talking to Judy." I said, "Who?" I said, "Nah, brother.
Yeah.
That's Miss Corey.
Yeah.
Judith Corey. That's Mother Corey.
Yeah.
That's not Judy.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Never in life.
Yeah.
Do you do that?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. She just helped so many people, man, and just, man, it's one thing to have people that really care.
Right.
And she really cares about the students.
Yeah.
And will help you
with anything.
Yeah. So, that's always, especially when you for those who coming out of high school or something and going to college, man, that's to get that kind of love is beautiful.
Oh man, she was at the gig the other night, and I told her, I would not be where I am without y'all.
Yeah.
No doubt. For
beautiful.
Sure.
You also attended William Patterson
College. At the time it was college, now it's university.
Okay. Where's that?
In Wayne, New Jersey, 2.5 little tiny towns outside of Patterson, New Jersey.
Okay.
So it's
closer to New York?
It's closer to New York. It's about 30 minutes from New York.
Okay.
And
what made you go to Patterson?
I initially was going to Hart to study with Jackie McLean. But I decided not to go because in the conversation with Jackie, he was talking about some guys that left D.C., came up, and they kind of squandered the scholarship money. They didn't really take care of the school part. They were playing. And I thought about, like, this is my hero. I don't want to come up here and mess over this money. I don't want to be another statistic. And I really wasn't sure of my mental state because I still was dealing with my father's death. I just know in my heart, I knew in my heart I wasn't stable enough to be that far away from home. So, I made a very adult decision. I said, okay, 4 hours versus 6.5 hours.
Yeah.
If something happens, my mom got to come try to fight that road to come get me. And sometimes she'd have to come that 4 hours for me, Yeah. So I said, I'm not going to do that to her.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I think he was a little salty about it at first because he was getting me and Abraham Burton at the same time.
Wow.
And he was so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, you going to love Abraham, man. Oh, y'all two together, man. Oh, man. Ooh, this is going to be great,
So at that time, you had made a connection with Jackie?
Yeah, Alan Palmer.
Yeah, yep.
DC pianist, he introduced me to Jackie. He took me to Jackie's house.
Wow.
So my audition was in Jackie's living room, in his music room.
Did he tell you stories? Bird story?
All kind of stuff.
Yeah.
and man, we played together.
Wow.
In his house. Not just Howard was there.
Wow.
Howard was there, and the tenor player from Jersey, but was living here, Trent Spears. We call him Ross Trent. He's a Rastafarian now.
Yeah. Understood.
We went up there.
Wow.
And, we played for Jackie. I was auditioning, and yeah, he was happy. You know, I got mixed feelings about not going, but in a way, you know, I think the Creator puts you where you're supposed to be.
No doubt.
You know, we stayed connected. I would talk to him on the phone, like kind of getting formal lessons that way. And I, for some reason, I kept playing in Hartford a lot, and he would show up.
Okay.
And so then like, he would tell me stuff, encourage me, this, that, and everything. And he could hear that I was about him.
Yeah.
You know, like Alan Palmer said, they were in the airport, and he heard a song they were playing in the airport. It was my song.
Wow.
Me playing his song.
Wow.
Called Jack's Tune.
Uh-huh.
And he heard it. And, oh, yeah, and he, you know, he enjoyed it and everything. So this cat tried to introduce me to Jackie one time. And I came down to where it was. I was, oh, man, J Mac. And the guy said, man, yeah, I want to introduce you to Jackie. He said, what? I was like, this guy, he don't know.
Yeah.
So Jackie grabbed me, hugged me, and kissed me on my head a couple times. I'm like, man, what are you talking about, man? It's one of my kids, man.
Yeah.
It's one of my students here, man. It's one of my students abroad. This is, of course I know Bruce, man. He's one of mine.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, yeah, man, to introduce me to Jackie? Okay, anyway.
Yeah, I got to meet him. He was adjudicating one of the monk competitions.
Yeah.
Then I heard him playing. I got to hear him play live. He's playing in Barrett Auditorium, somewhere in the Smithsonian. You know, so anybody that's connected to Bird fascinates me.
Yeah.
But Jackie always was like, wow.
Right.
You know, and so only twice though. But you got to, you know.
Man, I went to so many gigs live. I was in his house. I played at the Artist Collective, 2 different locations. I was around. I mean, I hung with him a little bit. You know, so it's like when I talk about Jackie, it's more than just me checking out records. It's I gotta from him calling me.
Wow.
For me calling him, for me seeing him at his gig, for him actually coming to the gig me and Alan Palmer had.
Yeah.
For him, I was in Connecticut playing with Little Jimmy Scott. He was there.
Wow.
You know, I was there playing with Frank Foster. He was there.
Wow.
So like, you know, the connection for me is deep because the things he said, although I wasn't in his studio all the time, like stuck with me. He didn't have to say but so much for me to like go ahead and transcribe him and follow that mode, you know.
Now, when you were in Patterson, did you go hang in New York?
Yeah, I mean,
a lot,
a little too much or something.
A little too much.
Yeah.
But you made some great connections, man. I mean, you know, I was looking at some of the people. Who are some of the people you study privately with?
I studied privately up there with Joe Ford, Steve Wilson, Joe Lovano.
Wow.
Gary Simonian, the baritone player. You know, I took a couple lessons from Oliver Lake.
Wow.
You know, yeah, I mean, I could say I took some lessons from Kenny Garrett, but he wouldn't want to call it lessons.
Gotcha.
Because a couple records he did, he'd have me, and not just me, some other people at his house actually playing the music he was going to play. And he played piano, and I played alto.
Wow.
And then, what you think about this? And back and forth and trading ideas. And over the phone, I mean, one time we had a conversation over one chord.
Really?
He's at his piano, and I'm at my keyboard, and we're discussing this one chord.
Wow.
For an hour.
Wow.
And so it's like, he opened me up harmonically some more. We're talking about the first chord on Inner Urge.
Really?
That's all it was.
Wow.
And so we went all into that, and then like, what else you find inside of that? And
so there's levels to this thing.
Oh yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful.
For little sister.
All right, man, that's beautiful, man. Let's go into some of you as a performer.
Okay.
Okay, you played with many of the legendary jazz icons. I want to just pick a few of them because you got a lot of them. Just got to talk about Stanley Cowell. I actually heard you play with Stanley Cowell. It might have been in D.C. somewhere, and I was really impressed. And because you got to understand, we were playing at Twins, and we all trying to get together. And you went away for a minute, and I see you. Then I came back. I said, "Whoa, this kid, whoa," you know. And so you can hear you can hear the growth. And so, yeah. So Stanley Cowell.
Stanley's instrumental in my career, not the same way, but kind of similarly to Jones, because I actually met him via Jones.
Oh, wow.
He came to UDC and did an Art Tatum demonstration. And he sounded like, from jazz history class, like the Art Tatum records. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
And, you know, then at William Patterson, my ensemble had to play his music. So we studied his music. We put on a concert, and then he sat in with us. I said, man, I learned so much. If you ever need somebody, I know you got Steve Coleman on that last record. I'm not there, but I mean, I love the opportunity. And he's like, okay, yeah. And then we chatted about UDC and everything. He remembered my face and everything. Took my number. Before you know, he called me.
Wow.
And then, you know, I don't know, I was what, 22, 3, something. I don't know, something like that, early 20s. And we had been working, I mean, maybe mid-20s. We've been working off and on, but more or less steady since then until he passed. And I did 3 records with Stanley. Yeah, I mean, influenced me compositionally, organizationally, and also about being free. He's somebody else that's free but inside, structured but not structured.
Gotcha.
You know, and that allowed me to do other things. Like stuff I liked about playing free, he was down for it. And he also told me, he said, man, don't let go of none of that funk and soul you got in your playing. He said, like, don't change who you are, just add to. So that's kind of been like my mode. Yeah. You know, like deepen your well every you know, few months, year, or whatever, you know.
Roy Hargrove. I got to actually, I heard y'all a lot with his RH Factor. I think y'all were down on the mall.
On the mall.
Yeah, I said, man, look at Bruce, man, he doing this thing, man. How'd you make the connection with Roy?
Roy, you know, other than us knowing from that period, being around New York and my homeboys playing with him, like Mark Carey played with him, you know. So when I first kind of went to New York, I sat in with him at the Vanguard. So that put an imprint, and then later, I was running a jam session at Smalls in New York. Okay. Every Thursday night, 2 to 7 in the morning. Wow. And he would show up. And we would play, he'd sit in, he'd listen. And before me, Sherman Irby was playing in the band. And then Sherman said, yeah, you next. I said, I'm next. What is next? I said, all right, whatever, you know. And I always told him, I want to play with you someday. You know, like I like a couple of these tunes you did. And he gave me the lead sheets and everything. Next you know, I was playing in the quintet. That was short-lived based on whatever was going on. It was like about 6, 7 months with the quintet. And then we parted ways. Before that, I had played with his big band. Like, he had maybe the second incarnation of it, you know. And, you know, I went on my way. He went on his, doing what he was doing. And then Justin Robinson, my good friend, started playing in the band. But I was playing with the Basie Band, Roy Hargrove Quintet, and the World Saxophone Quartet at the same time. Yeah. Wow. So I just left the Basie Band, and I just started playing with the World Sax Quartet. Yeah. And then doing my own thing, and Oliver Lake Big Band, different things, you know. Still playing with Frank Foster at the time. You know, so I was rather busy. So with Roy, later we came back to me going to Europe with Ben Riley, the Thelonious Monk Septet. He was there with RH Factor, and I was there with Ben. We stayed at the same hotel on the same festival, so we reconnected again. Yeah. And I said, yeah, man, I thought you was calling me for this RH. I see you got this guy in the band, this guy in the band that I know about. Yeah. But I don't think it really worked out with him. And he said, oh man, I said, you think I'm mad about the way y'all dealt me, right? Yeah. I said, I'm over that, whatever. Yeah, yeah. You know, and next you know, I got called again. Wow. And then when the big band happened, they knew about my experience playing lead with Frank Foster for 15 years. I became his lead alto player. But prior to that, I played second alto when Sherman was playing lead. Wow. And then from that point on, all up until now, I've been playing lead alto and playing in the RH Factor. Yeah. And I actually did the last Cree Soul gig he did. Wow. So I actually played at every incarnation he had. Yeah, beautiful, man. You know. What was the experience like playing with him? He has something
I think Roy has something special. I mean, something you can't teach.
For sure.
Yeah. So what did you get from playing with Roy?
On the stage, a certain amount of professionalism, savvy, charisma.
Yeah.
You know, a very well organized musical mind about how he wanted to present himself in the music.
Really? Wow. Yeah.
Soul, integrity, fun.
Yeah.
You know, we had a lot of really, really great improvisational moments together. You know, at the time when he was starting to play with Herbie, doing that, whether it was a New Directions or whatever, Michael Brecker and them.
Oh yeah, that and Brian Blade.
I think so.
Yeah,
And at some point, Willie Jones was playing too.
Yeah.
I think he started getting introduced to Herbie's concepts a little deeper, and I think he had been talking to him about SGI Buddhism. So Roy was real open, like really, really open to a lot of concepts. And then he started to play like kind of actually more free.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, and then with my background with the avant-garde as well as, you know, like the straight ahead thing, we could connect. And we had some moments on the bandstand where, you know, you see those videos of Miles and Kenny Garrett.
Yeah.
We had moments like that, but it was free.
Wow.
Over groove.
Yeah.
And I mean, I remember a few times audiences were like, whoa.
Yeah.
and then there's like that delayed applause. But at the end of the concert, they just lost it.
Yeah.
You know, we had a lot of moments like that, man. And at jam sessions like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, we didn't talk a lot, you know. We talked about the music and our families and stuff like that. But on the bandstand, it was just like about us hitting.
Yeah.
If there was an issue, you know, we'd talk about it or whatever. He didn't rehearse a lot.
Really?
No, he didn't. Wow. Like, you learned the stuff off the record or you had some stuff you wrote down. We would rehearse at sound checks. He would often change a part, you know, so then you got to remember that part.
Yeah.
Or jot it down, because I would have a music stand RX factor sometimes real low.
Okay.
Because, like, man, okay.
Did y'all talk about music? Like?
I mean, players and styles.
Yeah.
You know? And about young cats taking too many courses and, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah. You also, does he have a legacy? I saw something where you said you were, you were keeping his, the big band going.
Yeah, I'm the director of the Roy Hargrove Legacy Big Band.
Beautiful, yeah.
My co-leader or my assistant is another DMV brother, Jason Marshall, because he played baritone.
Yeah, Jason, yeah.
So he does a lot of librarian work and, you know, stuff.
Beautiful.
We're kind of doing it in a triangle between Roy's wife, Ida, myself, and Jason.
Beautiful.
And I wasn't there Thursday night since I was here. It was a great show.
Yeah.
Great show. And
I heard you. I think y'all played at the Kennedy Center.
Yeah.
And sound beautiful, man. So good. That's good. Good stuff, man.
You know, like after he died, the music was just left to me.
Wow.
So I had the music all that time.
Really?
And then I had the books, the actual books.
Really? Wow.
You know, the bag it was in, and I had all of that. I just recently put it in a different bag because I was falling apart. But I had, you know, stacks of set lists. Yeah. And all the music.
Wow.
And so, like, you know, between me and his wife and then Jason.
Beautiful. And I hear somebody's doing a documentary or something on him.
A young lady out in California, she's doing one, but I think she's still looking for some money to help finish some things.
All right.
But, you know.
All right. You mentioned the World Saxophone Quartet. What has that experience been like?
Man, that was one of the greatest learning experiences ever because, you know, there's no rules. You know, but there are rules. It's just not
Who are some
spoken.
of the people? I know Hammy Blewett.
Hammy Blewett, Oliver Lake, and David Murray. I'm in the chair of Julius Hemphill, who passed away. And that chair has changed a lot over the years. Yeah. I mean, Arthur Blythe had it, Eric Person, Ron Blake did it for a short time, Osby, maybe I'm forgetting somebody else, Tony Kofi, you know.
Out of London.
I mean, but I believe I'm the last one recorded.
Okay.
And the bulk of the work over these years.
Yeah. So how has the audience received that music?
Oh man, great! They love it.
Wow.
I mean, when I came into the band, we're still doing like a mixture of stuff they had been doing before. Little Ellington, even we did Giant Steps and stuff within the group. The theme song, Hattie Wall, and then later we started doing a Jimi Hendrix project, which I'm on.
Gotcha.
The record's called Experience, and I arranged one of the songs on there. Man, it's like.
Wow.
It's a whole different world, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the thing is, all of them can really play the blues. Not a blues.
The blues.
But the blues. They really have like a connection to what a field holler might be like in soul and telling a story. They all could do that.
Wow. Beautiful. And the Count Basie Orchestra, Frank Foster.
Well, I was with Frank and his band, The Loud Minority, playing lead alto for 15 years. And then all of a sudden I got the call for the Basie band. I said, Frank, I don't know, man. What do you want me to do? He said, I think you should do it. Go see what's up.
Okay. Wasn't he conducting the band at one time?
He was, like, in the 80s, late 80s, yeah. And so I went and did it. And I only missed 3 gigs, maybe 4 gigs with Foster in 15 years.
Wow.
And one of them was because of that, or something else, or a couple of them, And he said, yeah, go check it out. So I played with the Basie band on the road for a year and a half.
Wow.
And that was a good experience, just that rigorous road life on a bus. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. How you get that big, robust sound? Your sound has a level of robustity.
Robustity.
How you get
Robustiosity.
How you get that big sound like that, man? Singing quality, man. I mean, did you spend a lot of time developing your sound?
Yeah, because I always tried to play like a singer.
Okay.
Not just digitally. It's like I wanted to have that kind of cry and singing quality.
Yeah.
And the people I listen to, they have that.
Yeah.
If you really listen to Cannonball when he's like telling a story, or Jackie when he's telling Train when he's telling a story, Arthur Blythe is my man. That sound. And Bart's, he's like a folk singer.
Yeah.
So it's like I hear them more vocally.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
so you singing through the horn.
I'm trying to. Then the other times, we chopping out, doing what we're doing,
All right. We got to talk about Kenny Garrett a little bit more.
Okay.
You have you mentioned, you have a personal relationship with Kenny. I think there's certain people that created a thing that people, like you got Bird, Johnny Hodges, Bird, Cannonball, Jackie, Grover, and Kenny. Meaning that they took the alto and they created this different approach to it, and that has influenced so many people, myself included. And how'd you meet Kenny?
I first learned about Kenny actually from Kevin Levi.
Okay.
So he was telling me about
great
a guy.
Saxophonist.
Yeah,
here in the DMV.
He told me about this guy named Kenny Garrett and gave me a couple of records that he had been hearing. And it's okay, I'm gonna go check him out. And he was the first saxophone player I heard that actually I could tell successfully combined his R&B love, funk love with straight ahead. Yeah. I said, that's what I want to hear. Yeah. Because it was either one or the other, and then like two different camps would be fighting against who can play who's, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't really hear the music that way. I've always heard it from the out to the soul, the blues, to the bebop. I always heard it just like it's a part of black music. Yeah. I never heard it like,
Bam.
If you want to call that, I give Nick Payton some credit. But I never heard it like this over here versus that over there. Yeah, I got you. It's just sound to me. Yeah.
Yeah, Kenny, I like to say Kenny got to it before I did. Yes, but y'all developed a relationship somewhere over time. Yeah.
Right, but my relationship with him started really with Steve Wilson.
Okay.
Excuse me, because I was at William Patterson, and I wanted to study with Kenny. I thought Bobby Watson was there, but Bobby Watson left.
Okay.
So Rufus Reed was like, you ever talk about anybody else? I said, yeah, I like Steve Wilson too. He hooked me up with Steve, so I started studying with Steve. Mm-hmm. From that went to me investigating Kenny. Mm-hmm. And so they had at one time some similarities in their playing. Mm-hmm. That made it so I could understand Kenny a little bit better than what Steve taught me. And then I met Kenny, and it just developed from there. Yeah.
Now y'all go walking. Y'all try to live near each other, sir?
We don't go walking, but sometimes I go by his house. He's cutting his grass.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Does he? You go walking though, right?
Oh yeah.
Does he walk? Does he do the walk?
He used to run a lot.
Okay.
He used to run at like an indoor track.
Okay. Wow.
Go to it. He called it a spa, but it's a gym. You know.
Yeah, man. Beautiful. All right, now, Bruce Williams, the band leader.
Yeah.
Okay. What's it like leading your own band?
Stressful.
Huh? Stressful.
Stressful.
A lot of people don't understand. Sometimes it's nice being a sideman, ain't it? Because you ain't got to worry about all the other stuff. But yeah.
I inevitably worry about the stuff as a sideman too, because I want it just so it can be right.
I got you.
But as a leader, I mean, for the most part, the gigs I've led and things I've done going out has been a blessing. I mean, nobody's given me much of a problem.
Yeah.
Things have worked out. I wish it was more that way. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't mind being super sideman, but I would rather at this age
do your thing.
Be doing about 15, 20% more of my own thing. And that's what I'm in pursuit of.
You have a manager?
I don't at the moment.
Okay. That might help, or agent or something.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I've had people manage me to kind of let people tell them who I was rather than them telling.
Gotcha.
I was like, you're not being so good to me.
Yeah.
It's like all the reviews that are favorable that I'm on and the track record, you're supposed to over-present that.
Yeah.
Instead of having somebody talk down, well, he's not this. Or like, well, I mean, what do you mean not that?
Yeah.
How do you know who they are without a manager telling you that they're somebody?
Gotcha.
So, I mean,
Yeah. You have how many recordings have you done?
I have 4 as a leader.
Okay.
4? Let me see. 1, 2, 3. 4 as a leader, 1 as a co-leader, and I'm on like over 40 others.
Wow. Yeah, I play Altoicity for my kids.
Okay.
Yeah, I play that album for my students.
Okay.
And it's nice, beautiful. They got Russell Gunn.
That's my man.
Yeah. The Educator. You've mentored many and taught a lot of young and upcoming man. Teaching privately, adjunct professor at Bloomingfield College.
I was there at Bloomingfield College. That was under the great bassist that played with Dizzy, Chris White.
Wow.
He hired me for that.
Yeah. You was an instructor at the New Jersey PAC or NJ PAC.
NJ PAC.
Jazz for Teens.
Yeah, for many, many years.
Beautiful. The New School.
Yep. Taught private lessons at the New School.
I want to talk about Jazz House Kids.
Okay.
Yeah. But we're going to talk about the Jazz House Kids.
Yep.
Bard College.
Bard College.
Juilliard.
The Juilliard School.
And are you present? You presently teaching?
I'm presently at Juilliard and Montclair State University in New Jersey.
Man, you the cat, man. What is Jazz House Kids?
Jazz House Kids is an organization. The brainchild and CEO is Melissa Walker. Mm-hmm. She's a jazz vocalist, but she's now more of
from this area.
Yeah, well, she's actually from Canada, but she did live here for a while.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
and she's married to the great bassist, your homeboy Christian McBride. Mm-hmm. But she's into, giving back and developing jazz education, calling her business a house, a jazz house, a house that's, breeding jazz, about jazz, fostering jazz in the community. She's really passionate about kids and even more so now, like young girls learning to play the music. So it's a serious endeavor. It's, 7 days a week, thing for her. And I really admire her work ethic. You know, she's hard. You know, she goes after it. You know, she's. You know, I don't know if I have that in me. Yeah. To, you know.
But you go in and work with the
Yeah, I teach saxophone and ensemble.
Okay.
Yeah, beautiful. I run different ensembles.
Yeah, man, that's beautiful. We gotta pass the stuff on. So that's
can't take it with you.
That's for sure.
You can't, yeah.
All right, we almost to the end, man. Let's talk about your horns, man.
Okay.
Okay. You got all them pretty horns with all that beautiful engraving. Man, can I get one?
I can send you the cat's number.
You want to talk about who you endorsed with? I mean,
I'm endorsed by Yannick Gassawa Saxophone Company.
Okay.
Out of Tokyo.
Yeah.
And Van Doren reeds and mouthpieces and accessories.
Yeah, yeah. And man, your horns, man, it's like wow, pretty. Do you get them custom designed and that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I have certain things. Like a lot of times, stuff has come out of a dream. I said, man, can you do?
Really?
Yeah, it's like each one. Like the first one I got, it's just a 991 that was silver plated because I had a Mark VI that was silver plated, so I wanted to transition.
That joint had a beautiful sound. That Altoicity, that's one you got.
That was a Mark VI.
I heard you playing that with back in the day with
I was playing that with Stanley for
Stanley
a while.
Stanley Cowell. Yeah, I heard that joint had just a robust sound. But all your horns sound beautiful, man.
I just felt like I couldn't push the 6 anymore.
Gotcha.
Like it had a governor on it. I mean, in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have gotten rid of it just for a reference horn, you know. But it was a really good 6, but I don't think I would be playing it.
Yeah. But you like those silver horns. What's the difference between the silver horn and the horns with the gold lacquer? They seem to have.
I just got a connection with silver because it's kind of weird, bright, warm mix.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's like it just resonates with me. I don't like the upkeep, trying to keep it clean. Yeah. But it just it has a thing. I mean, my first silver horn was a soprano with King Cleveland, 1925 or 28. You know, King Cleveland. And I've been kind of stuck on. You know who really messed me up with this silver horn, man?
Margaret.
Jock Johnson.
Oh, Jock. Yeah.
Jock Johnson.
Yeah, I bought a horn from Jock, I think.
And I mean, he came to my high school with the Army Blues, and I was all messed up, man, because he was right there with that big tenor and it was silver. I said, I want that. You know, I just bugging out.
Yeah.
And from that point on, it led me to like hear like James Moody and Cannonball, and I was cap's name was John Page. Used to fix horns.
I remember John used to make them lamp. John Page, was he the cat that made those lamps out of instruments?
Yeah, maybe he did, but he was at Dale, upstairs in Dale Music on George Avenue.
I remember that cat. Yeah, I remember that cat.
And so he had these King music companies, you know, from Cleveland, promo pictures.
Yeah. Moody
and Cannonball. And even though they were black and white, the silver was still like busting out the picture.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, whoa. You know, and Barton had a picture of a Yannick Gassawa that was set up like a king, silver bell, silver neck. It was like he had a big picture like the size of a door at his office at Duke Ellington back in the day. That silver just did it for me, man.
Wow.
Like, so I've had soprano, alto, soprano. Yeah, I've had like 5 or 6 silver horns over the years, and King Super 20s.
Yeah, man. I need one of them pretty horns, man. All right, man. Final questions.
Okay.
What has it been like being a husband and a father?
Husband, you know, being a husband is
and a musician. I mean, I need it
as a musician.
Yeah.
I'm blessed, man. My wife is rather understanding of who I am in career. I mean, she met me knowing I was a saxophone player. She has not once tried to change me or steer me away.
What's your wife's name? You got to give her some love.
My wife, Leonora.
Leonora. Give her some love.
So we just call her Leo.
Leo?
Because
okay.
it's Leo Nora.
Yeah, got you.
Leo or Nora.
Got you.
You know, if we're in a little thing like Leonora. You know. But Leo, she's never steered me from what I'm trying to do, like any endeavor. Like she's supportive, or she'll say, well, what do we have to do to make that happen? Or what do you need to do? Or well, come on, let's go. Or well, let's plan this. You know, she's always been of that mindset. I met her. She loved Billie Holiday.
Wow.
I was like, oh, okay. So you already about halfway to one.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know. You went. She wasn't the girl that was talking about the Go-Go or Janet Jackson or something like that. So I'm like, all right, you like what I like? Okay, you know. She's just been, you know, a supporter. You know, 100%.
And you have 2 kids?
2 kids. My oldest is Elijah.
As mine's. My oldest is Elijah, and you have a daughter.
Yeah, Elijah's. He's gonna be 26 this summer, and Sage is 14.
Okay.
She's an artist.
All right.
And my son, he's doing well in the culinary industry. He's a head line cook at this restaurant.
Oh wow. Okay.
And you know, he's into like, how would I put it, like Asian fusion kind of cooking.
Really?
Like he likes to make up little stuff and do.
Yeah.
You know, but he knows a style of like vegan, vegetarian, West Indian. Mm-hmm. American cuisine, a little bit of European mix of American and French influence, and the stuff he's doing at his restaurant. I mean, you know, and some Asian stuff, you know.
Right. Wow, beautiful, man. You're deeply involved in the martial arts, right?
Yeah.
Which style of martial arts do you do?
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what makes that? I mean, is it just a different?
It's a grappling art. Mm-hmm. It's a cousin to judo.
Okay.
So when I was a kid, I took sport karate for a little bit of time, and I took a few judo lessons and some wrestling lessons. Mm-hmm. And then later in life, after a really bad car accident, my back was just hurting. I just gained all this weight, and it's like it took forever to try to make the weight move. Mm-hmm. So my boy, saxophone player Justin Robinson, he was talking about the Gracie family. Mm-hmm. And I looked him up, and I happened to be down here at my mom's, and I'm watching the UFC, and they did a story about Hoist Gracie. I said, oh, that's what he's talking about. I got on my laptop and said, you know, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu near me. Mm-hmm. And I found 2 schools near where we lived, and I happened to chose the school that had the actual most notable professional, the most decorated. Mm-hmm. Professor Mike Markulik, my teacher, passed away, you know, 5 or 6 years ago. Not 5 years. I forget now. It's hard to even think about it. But Mike passed away in a tragic car accident.
Wow.
And he was the right person at the right time, like 100%. Mm-hmm. You know, he took me in 2 weeks before my 37th birthday.
So you started doing that at the age of 30?
Yes, yeah. I left martial arts alone at like 19.
Okay.
18, 19 years old. I stopped, you know.
Yeah. And Justin Robinson, he does that as well?
Yeah. He's a brown belt, but he has 2 other belts, sport karate black belt and a Kyokushin black belt.
Now, there's some benefits, like, in terms with doing martial arts that, besides kicking somebody's behind?
For me, it's kind of like a calming state.
Okay.
And the physical fitness aspect of it, the community aspect of it, I feel less vulnerable in the street. I never really did anyway, but you feel even less.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I'm more situationally aware.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, I like fighting.
You like fighting?
I like fighting. You know?
Well, you know what's what I'm saying? Bruce, man, Bruce got these 2, you're the kind of cat, man, real cool, real nice, sweet cat brother, but got that, don't open up that other, don't open up that other side, man.
I mean, you know, I'm not one, I don't want to go to jail for anything.
Yeah.
But like, I will defend myself.
No doubt.
You know, and it's like, you know, first is verbal judo.
Yeah.
Before there's the actual Osotogade, Ichimada, you know, Tomonage, Seonage, before I use the Japanese terms, you know. So it's like, I'm just trying my best to like kind of stay in it, stay in life. You know, it's kind of helped me through a lot of things, and work through a lot of things, you know. And I was teaching a lot. I was teaching jiu-jitsu.
Is there a connection between martial arts and jazz, like in terms of
with jiu-jitsu? Yeah, because like, you know, like karate schools, there's a lot of kata, like forms. They're called forms. Jiu-jitsu, there's no forms. You just roll.
Wow.
So the closest thing to forms is you drill a sequence.
Okay.
But like, there's no set sequence. You drill it if you're working towards a particular goal, or I'm doing this, if they react this way, then I have this option. So it's like a bunch of rules that morph as the situation changes.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's where
improvisation.
It's like, exactly.
Yeah.
So I could see jazz in it like within the first 3 months. I was like, whoa, this is really like us playing changes.
Yeah.
And the piano player plays the wrong chord.
Yeah.
And you gotta like react.
Yeah.
You know?
No doubt.
It's a reactionary art form.
Okay.
You can set people up. Just like boxing, you can set somebody up, you know? But if they don't react that way.
Yeah. Do you like watching it?
Yeah, I do. Not as much as I used to, because I was really sick a couple years ago, and the past 3 years, some health stuff has really been plaguing me, and it's like come to a head. So it's under control, because I couldn't train the way I wanted to, and the pandemic was keeping me from going to the gym as much. Yeah. I said I don't want to see it too much.
Yeah, gotcha.
Because it was like it make me sad.
Yeah,
you know. So, you know. But I'll watch snippets, or an interview, or whatever.
Gotcha. All right. Couple more questions before I do. I wanted to ask you, man, what is your advice for young people who want to pursue the art of jazz improvisation, or who want to be a jazz musician? What advice would you give?
Don't rely on the internet other than listening to music or watching videos. You gotta go see people play live.
Yeah.
You have to go talk to people. You know, there's a problem with the youth in terms of social skills. They'll sit right next to each other and text each other instead of having a conversation. Yeah. The music doesn't function in a social media bubble or internet digital bubble. It's still analog. Yeah. It may be sold digitally, but it's still analog. Yeah. So you have to get out and become a person. This music is about personalities. No doubt. It's about struggle, discovery, personalities, happiness, joy, sadness. Those are all human conditions. No doubt. No emoji is enough. To really indicate how you truly feel. You know, and I believe that we as educators or people in the community need to get to them younger. No doubt. I think by the 4th grade, when their interest starts to spark, you get them. And if you wait after 7th grade, it's harder because, see, with the suburban construct, all these kids got instruments, they got private lessons, they got camps, they got all this stuff. And inner city kids, they don't have the same support. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no doubt. And so if you don't get them early enough and develop them, like I know you had somebody I really admire, Lovett Hines. Oh yeah. In Philly. Oh, yeah. You guys were fortunate to have a situation like that. We used to have something like that in D.C. Let Them Play. Yeah. Watching D.C. summer jazz. Yeah. And not every city has that. That's why a jazz house kids is so important in these NJ Packs and. I used to teach in Red Bank, down there, the Red Bank Jazz. Man, it's so important because the kids, regardless of where they come from, to get them involved with jazz early and make them understand that this is America's music. Yeah, no doubt. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no doubt. You come here, you transplanted from somewhere else, or you immigrate here. Once you are in this country, you have to deal with America. Yeah. That means you have to deal with the music, the culture, the people, slavery, apple pie, baseball, and Chevrolet. You have to deal with that. Yes, sir. If you don't deal with it, you're never going to really confront jazz the right way. It's going to be just a science. It's music, a science, a subset of a science. Yeah. And you can't treat jazz that way. It's a culture. When they're trying to strip the culture away from the music, if we get to them earlier, then you got them. Yeah. There's a singer, I won't mention her name. She went to an inner city school in Newark, trying to teach them about jazz vocals. Okay? And she went in with the wrong attitude. She went in with the attitude, I'm going to teach you this high-mindedness with these inner city girls in Newark, New Jersey. And they kicked her tail. Not physically, but they emotionally wore her out. Yeah. And I tried to tell her, I said, you don't understand. A lot of black kids think jazz doesn't come from the black community.
Yeah.
And you went in their neighborhood trying to dictate to them.
Yeah.
And you're not from that community.
Yeah.
I said, you'd have been better off, instead of telling them how great Sarah Vaughan is since she's from Newark, bridging the gap and ask them about Erykah Badu. And they're playing Billie Holiday. Said, don't she sound like she's copying a lot of her inflections? Or Chrisette Michele.
Yeah.
You can hear that they coming out of that Billie Holiday. Then you can bridge that thing and start talking about Sarah Vaughan, and then Larry Young, and then Wayne Shorter and James Moody, who are all from Newark.
Yeah.
But see, she didn't do that. So she said she left and went right away to a bar to get drunk because she just was messed up. She had to have a drink.
Wow.
So you shouldn't even have to go have a drink.
Yeah. Well, you know, man, I in addition to what you just said, I also think we got to expose these kids to it, even if they don't like it.
Exactly.
Because that's why when we have festivals here, I'm trying to figure out a way to get these inner city kids to come out. Like when, you know, like we got a lot of music teachers, black, African American, and other, that teach right here in D.C., in the inner city, man. And, you know, we have these festivals here. We got to find a way to get them just to go, because it's not just listening to the music. It's seeing how people react to the music. It's the like, I remember, man, it was the whole ambiance of it that, you know, I was telling Paul that, man, trying to get the kids out to, when he does his the Mid-Atlantic Jazz Festival, can we get these inner city kids just to come out and see other kids doing something.
Well, somebody needs to come up with some money.
Yeah.
Put them on a bus, get them a lunch, and get them home.
Exactly.
And, you know, chaperone. Do that. Because that's what's needed.
Yeah.
Because if you got 100, you might catch 4.
Mm-hmm.
If you catch that 4, that's another 4.
Yeah.
Then another 2.
Yeah.
Then a 1. Then a 4. Then a 5. Then 10. Next you know, you got a big man.
Yeah. But it has to be very intentional.
Yeah.
Because our music is not reaching our kids. It has to be very intentional. A lot of times, we'll put up festivals and we'll invite them. We'll send advertisement to these, but it has to be very intentional that we got to get these kids exposed.
Well, there was a thing that was happening from WBGO in Newark, the famous jazz radio station, and NJPAC. Mm-hmm. They'd have a thing on Saturdays where they had kids. Cause it was a kids concert. Professionals would come and put on a concert for kids.
Wow.
So how you got in free? You brought a kid.
Wow. And
in a beautiful auditorium like the Kennedy Center at NJPAC.
Beautiful.
Same level.
That's
kinda. So like the Westminster Church or Strathmore, one of these, like a hall where you know it's nice and the kids feel safe and all of that. Mm-hmm. You know, a nice venue. Yeah. You bring them.
Yeah, no doubt.
And expose them. There needs to be a kids initiative that way.
Yeah. And can you imagine, man, if the RH Factory just went into a school and rocked the house?
Well, yeah.
I mean,
we did some college stuff, but it was not that much.
Yeah, but I used to think, man, Roy, because Roy, he was, again, like you were saying, was able to have the R&B stuff and bridge it with the jazz.
Yeah.
And had the energy and personality and charisma. I always had this vision of this kind of stuff going into the schools. Don't try to explain nothing to them. Talking about this. So a lot of times the kids just play and hit.
Right.
And let them experience it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, man, I don't want to go on that tangent.
It's all good.
What's next for Bruce Williams?
Some recordings, a little bit of travel. Yeah. Just finishing up the semester at these 2 schools. Yeah. Make sure these lessons and projects are done. Yeah. Just still working on me. Just working on me. Health and wellness. Yeah. And my family. We're doing home projects. Gotcha. Fixing stuff. Yeah. I ain't fixing nothing. I'm paying somebody. Picking up a hammer, nail, nothing. You know, ding up my hands anymore in martial arts. That's enough. Just still working, man. Trying to just, trying to get everything to where I feel comfortable again. I mean, because coming out this pandemic, I still don't feel really 100% myself.
I got you.
You know what I mean?
I got you.
A couple years ago I had a surgery, so that slowed me down, and then the pandemic, that slowed me down. So it's always been like this.
Yeah.
It's more up now.
Gotcha.
You know, but I was like, man, I just don't I don't want to go back to this era. I really hope we are moving forward.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No doubt.
Because we're not getting any younger.
No doubt.
And it's harder to do all the stuff. I mean, did you experience this, man, that like just at our age now and after this pandemic, the stamina on the gig is not quite the same.
Yeah.
Even if you feel like you're physically well rested and fed, you just don't. Yeah. That's what I'm up against all the time.
It's a process. You know, well, you know, I gotta get back in that gym, to, you know, and get the stamina up and all that. But yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. I got to get acclimated again, man. It's weird because when you playing with different cats, you're dealing with different energy.
Yeah.
And it's about synergy, not just energy. And you have to, so it might take me a minute, whoever I'm playing with, to gel with their energy, you know. And so, that's what I'm grappling with sometimes when I play now.
Well, for me, man, yeah, we can make gigs for money.
Yeah.
I don't like taking gigs for money at this point in my life.
I understand.
I really don't.
Yeah.
I want to play with people that make it an event that makes me feel a certain way.
Yeah.
I can walk away with an experience.
Yeah.
You know, I want to, I'm playing with Buster and Lenny and Renee Rosnes, you know, or sometimes with George Colligan. If I'm playing, you know, my bands or other people's bands, somebody's got some real, like, sincere thought and integrity, but I'm walking away with that experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not, did you hear my solo? No, like, I'm talking about the whole arc of, like, wow, that was something else. You know, you still live off of that, feed off of that vibe.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at in my life. I mean, I've been striving for that maybe the past 10 years, and I've really come to a head with it now, like, yeah, okay, I'll make that money, but I want to feel something.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know, I want it to impact me in another kind of spiritual, emotional way.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have to create my own stuff to do that, man. Because sometimes, you know, I'm going to take the gig. You know, sometimes it's just I got to take the gig.
Yeah.
You know, but there are things I want to do musically, and they're not necessarily straight ahead.
That's fine.
That I want to do just, you know, because it's about legacy for me now. Like, I think we lead, you know, when you listen to your albums, man, that's part of your legacy.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm at with it at this point. You know,
I mean, we have to always be in pursuit of some level of growth. I don't care what it is. Like, you worked out, you watched what you ate, you practiced your scales. Yeah. You know, something, your tone got better, or something with sight reading, or, you know, whatever it is, you know, something.
I see you eating them vegan mushrooms.
They're already vegan.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful, man. So, anyway, man, how can people get in contact with you and learn more about what you're doing? You can tell them right there.
Oh, I mean, you know, connect with me through Facebook Messenger, BruceWilliamsSaxophone.com, also Instagram, Big Solid 11. You can hit me there. You know, I'm reachable. When people say they can't catch me, that's kind of a lie. I mean, you know, I may not respond right away, but I will get to you. You know.
Yes, sir. Well, my brother, man, I want to thank you,
I
man.
appreciate you.
Yeah, for bringing your wealth of experiences and stories to a conversation in jazz, man.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it, man. And for me, man, you know, knowing you, knowing each other, you know, when I come up, when we were trying to get together, man, to see you doing wonderful things, man. Very inspiring. You know.
Thank you, man. Likewise. I mean, you know, I appreciate you doing this because our stories need to be documented.
No doubt.
And I'll say one final thing about Fish. He always felt like he wasn't heard. And you made it so he was heard.
Beautiful. Yeah,
you know,
so,
and
wow.
That's important.
Yeah.
You know, because everybody, you know, you can hear this. You get like the kind of the urban legend kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Or this way he think he that, or this and that. And like when you really get down to it, you maybe you caught him on a bad day.
Yeah.
Or they going through whatever they going through. Or you want to make them who you want them to be rather than who they really express to be.
Yeah, no doubt.
And when you get someone to sit down and open up, you find out some things, and maybe you like them more, maybe you don't.
Yeah.
But I think with him, he was able to express some feelings, some ideas, some emotions, and some character that a lot of people maybe didn't see outside of the gregarious personality.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, myself like him, but him more than me, he loved hard, man.
Yeah, yeah.
He loved people hard.
Yeah,
you know, to the point where I used to tell him, leave that.
Yeah.
Concentrate on yourself. Relax a little bit. But he loved hard.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Passionate.
Passionate.
Yes, yeah, man. Well, man, thank you again, my brother.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
you too.
Yeah. And this is a conversation in jazz. We've been listening to the great Mr. Bruce Williams, and we'll see you on the next one.